It was revealed today during Diddy's trial. His name was brought up 77 times regarding the death of Tupac. So allegedly the man that killed Tupac was hired by Diddy. He was paid a sum of $1 million back in the 90s during a West Coast tour. This man was Diddy's bodyguard. Prosecutors received this information back in 2009. This is all in Kim Porter's book. And if you don't know who Kim Porter is, she is the late wife of Sean Combs, who died of a pneumonia, which was really weird because she was young. So anyway, this is from her book. And this is the part about Diddy and Pac. So it says that Biggie has taken over East Coast hip-hop and that Sean is basically orchestrating everything in the industry. And he's working with some really influential people in the music industry who are deciding who's going to be the next big up-and-coming artist. And she writes that Sean is sleeping with some very powerful men in the music industry. She writes that if you knew the names of some of these men, it would blow your mind. And also a lot of people that you've never heard of, but people that are very powerful. She also wrote in the book that he started having parties with fancy names which were basically just ways to start having orgies. When she met Tupac, her and Diddy were in an open relationship. She liked Tupac, so she and Tupac would hook up a lot. But one day, things take a turn because Tupac is there and Diddy is there. And Diddy knows that they have hooked up. So Diddy turns to Tupac and he's like, my baby's bad, right? And Tupac's like, yeah. And Kim's kind of like, So Diddy is like to Tupac, who do you think blanks her better? And Tupac is like, what? And Diddy's like, yeah, let's find out right now. I bet my is bigger than yours. And Kim's like, yo, like super disrespectful. And Pac is like, what the fuck? And Diddy was like, let's see who can make her blank the fastest. And Tupac then says, are you about to take your shit out like right now? Tupac then leaves at this point because he's pissed. Kim's pissed. And I guess Diddy was making advances on Tupac this whole time. So he was like really weirded out. And he was like, dude, I told you, like, I'm not interested. So he leaves. So then after this happens, Diddy starts avoiding Tupac and Kim. And there was a lot of tension. And Kim writes that there was a few times that it seemed like they were just going to get into an altercation. Like someone was about to throw a punch. Then she writes, one day she walks into the studio and she overhears the conversation. Sean Diddy Combs is having a conversation with who she refers to as Jimmy the Henchman. And what she hears him say, and I quote, is, Pac, don't leave that fucking studio alive. And then she writes, I don't think I was meant to hear that. So she pretends like she doesn't hear it. She's like, oh, hey, good morning, guys. I'm getting breakfast. What do you guys want? Give me your order. And as this Jimmy dude leaves the studio, he says to Sean, great, let's make that happen. And Diddy says, I'll make the call. Kim then writes, I wasn't in the studio the night that Pac survived being shot, thank God. From what I understand, Sean and Chris both saw Pac at the studio and that he had been shot and did nothing. The way God works. After being shot, Pac made it to the elevator and tried to escape, but he was stopped at the floor that Sean and Chris were on. When the doors opened, they saw him lying on the elevator floor, riddled with bullets. The fact that they didn't call an ambulance, even though they saw Pac lying there swimming in a pool of his own blood, would be all the evidence that Pac ever needed. He, of course, assumed that they placed the hit. Tupac during recovery did not do well. He lost a testicle, but he survived. She says it was orchestrated and Sean Puffy Combs was the orchestrator. At this point, she knows she gotta get the fuck out of there. So they go to dinner, her and Diddy go to dinner at a fancy restaurant in public, and she takes it as like, this would be a good time to break up with him while I'm in public. She hears him on a phone call where he says, we're gonna release the song, Who Shot Ya? And he's intentionally releasing it, and it's gonna be Biggie releasing the song. Of course, they're gonna think B.I.G. was talking about Pac. That's the whole point. Nobody would give a fuck about a diss track against LL Cool J. Do you know how much money we're gonna make with this kind of rap beef? He knowingly put the hit on Tupac and then knowingly encouraged a song from Biggie. That would make it look like it was Biggie. And as he's getting off the phone, he says, we drop that shit tomorrow, there's gonna be blood in the street.